boys, what's up? And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Lingshaw's light cone. Is her light cone a must pull? Do you need Lingshaw's light cone for herself? Is it even worth pulling? So we're going to go over that in today's video, gamers, because we have Lingshaw's light cone pulled up right here. Now, I honestly think, general thoughts, I think her light cone's pretty good, just because of the fact that it can help out Gallagher a lot, but we'll get more into that a little bit later into the video. First of all, guys, really big thing here is going to be increasing the wearer's break effect by 60%. So, like I was saying before, this is going to be helping out tremendously in the fact that this is good for Gallagher, right? This is also obviously good for Lingsha as well, because Lingsha scaled off a break effect, but this is also going to be super good for Gallagher too. Not only does it do this, guys, it is going to be inflicting the target in the woe-free state. This is a debuff that you're putting on the enemy, so this is going to be basically an additional debuff that you're putting on the enemy. Now, I will say this. This is an additional debuff you're putting on the enemy, but it's not a additional debuff application, so if you were to use this in a team like an Acheron team, right, you would not be gaining an extra, what do you call it, an extra stack for her ability to get her ultimate move up with this right here. This is just an extra stack. So someone like, let's say, a Dr. Ratio, right, that requires you to have more debuffs on the enemy, this would help him, but it doesn't really help out Acheron because he's still doing a debuff with his ultimate move. But what this debuff is going to be doing, guys, this is going to be making the enemy take 10% increased damage. This is basically like a 10% vulnerability debuff that you're going to be doing on the enemy here. And then not only this, guys, is whenever the wearer's break effect over 150%, which, come on, not hard to do at all, you'll be getting an extra 8%. So all in all, guys, here, you're actually going to be getting a 18% vulnerability increase as well, or whatever you want to call it. You're putting a vulnerability debuff on the enemy, right? So this is giving break effect and that. Now, if we were to compare that to something like his free play light cone, the what is your light cone, that is also giving him break effect as well. But you had to see, at S5, you're getting 48%, whereas from this light cone right here, you are getting 60% from S1, which is super massive. This means you can build less break effect into his kit if you want to, but it's also going to be helping if you just wanted to get that extra break effect, right? Which helps with super break damage overall. And then on top of this, it'll be increasing the wearer's max HP for a certain portion of their HP whenever they use a basic attack, which he automatically gets a basic attack after using his ultimate move, which is nice for his own healing, right? But I don't think that's completely necessary, considering if you have him up in the higher Eidolons, that he can heal himself from this ability. I think what's much better is using the ultimate move and getting this vulnerability debuff off on the enemy for 2 whole turns. I think this is going to be much more beneficial for you, because you got to think, if we're using this on someone like a Gallagher, right, we haven't even talked about Lingsha yet, you're already going to be making the enemies take 12% more break damage whenever you hit them with your basic attack after the ultimate move, because the ultimate move will be putting, well, I guess it's putting it on them from the ultimate move, right? But you're putting bestowed on the enemy, which gives you increased break damage, and then this actually does multiply into your actual super break damage, the vulnerability, so defense down and also vulnerability plays into that ability of your super break damage. So this can help in really any super break team, right? So this overall is going to be a lot better than getting an HP buff per se, right? And it just gives an initial, like, bigger break effects stat, right? And then respectively, guys, we're also talking about Lingsha, because this is made for her, right? So we already know Lingsha basically does the same type of ultimate move that Gallagher does. She hits every single enemy on the field. It is going to be putting a debuff, the same thing that he kind of does, of increasing the amount of break effect that you're doing on those enemies there. But on top of that, it's the same as him, is her outgoing healing and attack is going to be scaling off of break effect. So that means that you by putting this light cone on her, you're giving her extra scalings, the same thing you would be doing for Gallagher, right? So ultimately, this is going to give a huge benefit to Lingsha here. It's also going to be increasing the damage she's doing with her little bunnies. If I were to say, though, right, this might be a hot take, guys. If I were to put both Lingsha and this light cone the same thing together, I'll be honest with you guys. No, bear with me here for a second. I would honestly say, if you have a Gallagher built up already, and you are planning to pull for one of the two here, genuinely, guys, I think it would probably be better to pull for this light cone over Lingsha. I think this could help out your team so much more than what Lingsha can probably do for your account. I think this would be a bigger improvement to your account than what Lingsha can bring if you've already have him built. Now, if you don't have him built already, then maybe not, right? Like, you don't have him E6 or whatever, you're not going to be using him that much, then go for Lingsha, right? It's a new character, new sustained character, she's going to keep the team alive. But if you already have him built up, I mean, this is not a bad option at all, guys. Now, do I think this is a must pull? No, I don't think this is a must pull. I don't even think she needs this light cone, right? Like I mentioned in my my build video for Miss Lingsha, guys, I think that she can honestly use the same light cone that Gallagher uses in terms of like healing and shit like that. So like you don't even need that light cone, right? First of all, Gallagher's light cone gives her break effect already, right? That's already applying into her attack and outgoing healing boost there. I mean, this right here from doing basic attacks, restoring max HP, that doesn't really matter too much. The big thing here is you're getting the extra break effect for the extra scalings there. There are some other options you can use here. I think this light cone is a pretty big improvement, or a pretty hefty improvement for the team as a whole compared to some of these other light cones. Like you can run the, what's it called, a post-op conversation at S5. This will give you a 3-turn ult without having to run an ERR chain. But overall, I think if we're talking about what benefits the team more, putting a vulnerability debuff on the team, especially if you're running on a team like, let's say, an Acheron, right? Because Acheron teams need debuff. She uses a debuff whenever she uses her ultimate move, right? Putting extra vulnerability on that enemy is going to allow her to do more. It basically just allows your whole team to do more damage, which is just super, super nice, right? All around, just a super nice thing to have is just the ability to do more damage on the enemy with really, I guess, no extra cost, and I guess instead of just like pulling for the light cone, right, is basically giving her a whole extra ability when she uses her ult, right? And that's how I quantify things, right? She's getting an 18% vulnerability debuff. There is really no other light cone in the game that is currently doing that, not even if we look at every single other light cone for the abundance class here. Everything is literally basically just giving themselves something, or whoever the actual user is something. Like even if we look at something like Knight of Fright, right, it increases an energy regeneration rate. It'll be giving a heal, and then it'll be giving an attack buff that can stack up to 5 times. So you probably have this S1. So what's that? 5 times 2.4 is what? I don't know the math off. 12% attack buff. That's not really that big of an attack buff versus an 18% vulnerability debuff you're putting on the enemy. Because if we're looking something like the damage multiplier, right, that attack buff that you're getting from that is literally just applying to this right here, right? This is literally where that attack is going into, which is right here. That's the very first thing in the chain here. Realistically, the further you get down this list, usually the less of the buff or debuff that we have. So it's better to get this, because Hoyoverse games, how their math works is you want to spread out stats as much as possible. You want even stats all around the board. So you don't want to be overloaded with like 4 here, a 4 here, a 4 here, and then 1, 1, 1, 1, right? You rather want to be like 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. You'll be getting a lot more bang for your buck this way if you're doing it, because if we were to, what does this multiply together as? So if you were to put this in the mathematical standards, right, this is what I mean by Hoyoverse likes their stats spread out, right? So if you go full send heavy towards like the front half of like this multiplier here, or even if you were to go like full send heavy towards the back end of the multiplier, you're getting a less return on investment here versus if you were to spread out your stats evenly, as we can see here, right? This is 444. If you would have went 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, you get 64 damage increase versus a 48% damage increase. So you're getting like basically 20% free damage just by spreading your stats out. Even though you have lower stats for every one of them, you're getting a higher increase. And this is not to say that you can't go and then increase these numbers after the fact, right? But the big thing here, guys, is that vulnerability lays so deep into this, and we really don't have much with it in the game. Big J has it. Welt has it. Who else has vulnerability in the game? Black Swan has vulnerability whenever you use her ult and you go to the enemy's turn. It has to be in the enemy's turn for you to activate it. Luca has vulnerability as well, which is around 21% to a single target. Topaz Noombi has vulnerability, but only for follow-up attacks. Lingsha, we already know that she basically has that there for her Bafog, which is increased vulnerability for break-type damage. This is an overall multiplier, guys. She gives 20% increased break effect damage for 2 turns. This is 18% for any type of damage, which means this light cone is going to be basically good for any type of scenario that you throw her into. Anyone can use that vulnerability just because of how broad it is, right? It doesn't say that it's break effect. You just have to build break effect on the character to get the max 18%. Anyways, guys, do I think this light cone's a must pull? No. Do I think it's good if you already have a Gallagher built up on your account and you pull and pulling for Lingsha? I think it could be tremendous help for that, especially if we do get more break-oriented, I guess, healers in the game, right? Like, most people aren't going to use the break effect there, but I think it could be a great scenario for a full team-wide help. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Are you going to be pulling for Lingsha's light cone? Are you pulling for Lingsha in general? Are you skipping her? I know a lot of people are skipping her, but some people in chat, like Mr. Oatmilk Fieri, are pulling for her. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already. Anyways, guys, see you later. Bye.